Go ahead.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The House Government Operations Committee for Monday, 14 February is called to order. Do we have any personal orders? Any personal orders? Who was going to introduce? Did Tracy bug out again?
In the back row, trying to hide.
There he is. Former colleague of ours. Please stand up and wave. Any other personal orders? Seeing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Byrd, Calfee, Camper, Cochran, Dixie, Faison, Johnson, Lafferty, Lamberth, Littleton, Marsh, Stewart, Warner, Vice Chairman Reedy, Chairman Reagan.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Some administrative items to take care of before we get into our calendar today. Item number 3 on the regular calendar, House Bill 2660, has been rolled 1 week. Item number 7, House Bill 1748, is taken off notice. Members, we have a consent calendar. Do we have any objections filed in advance? Does any member of the committee have an objection to any item on the consent calendar? Seeing none, we're voting on sending the consent calendar containing 14. I'm sorry.
Motion on the consent calendar.
Yeah, chair's getting ahead. We have a motion and a second. Now we're ready to vote on it. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, we're voting on sending the consent calendar containing 14 items to calendar and rules. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Consent calendar goes to calendar and rules. Next on our calendar is item number 1, House Bill 1753 by Chairlady Smith.
Motion.
We have a motion and a second. Chairlady Smith, you are recognized on House Bill 1753.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you, committee. This is a bill that.
Before you get started, let's confirm that it's traveling with an amendment, right?
Absolutely. There is an amendment traveling with the bill. It's drafting code 12893.
Thank you. That matches our records. So you are now recognized to explain your bill as amended.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chairman and committee. We all have heard over the course of time about the need for testing and some of the barriers to particularly the younger age group in being able to take their tests by paper versus online. This would really is a bill that allows the paper format to be observed for grades 3 through 5 in this current school year, as well as the school year for 22-23. And then for the grades 6 through 8, students will be able to take their test this year on paper and make it permissive for the department to make a decision if it's appropriate for that same decision to be made in subsequent years. The end of course assessments that are administered at the 9th through 12th grade years, this would be permissive for the department to visit whether that need is necessary. And again, particularly in the grades 3 through 5, when English may not be the first or the primary language, and then also with test anxiety, we're finding that the children perform better without having the anxiety of another barrier such as online testing. And with that, Chairman Reagan, I'll be happy to entertain any questions, but I do ask support for passage.
Thank you, Chairlady. Members, you've heard an explanation of the bill as amended. Do we have questions for the sponsor? Seeing none, we are voting on sending House Bill 1753 to calendar and rules. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Bill moves out to calendar and rules. Thank you, Charlie Smith.
Thank you, Chairman and committee.
Next on our agenda is House Bill 1681 by Chairman Sapicki. We have a motion and a second. Chairman Sapicki, you have an amendment on your bill. It's traveling with it, correct?
Drafting code 012583, Mr. Chairman.
That matches our records. So you are recognized on your bill as amended.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, what this does is it creates, through the Tennessee Board of Regents, to develop a 2-year pilot program beginning in the 22-23 school year for the purpose of awarding grants to students enrolled in non-credit workforce degrees. If you're familiar, which many of you are probably not, with Columbia State Community College, we have a program out there called the Line Worker Program. It is for those individuals that climb the telephone poles to make sure the power stays on. Right now, that does not qualify for any type of financial aid. This would create a grant program through the Tennessee Board of Regents to allow those individuals to pursue those and other standards such as, I have a list right here, Mr. Chairman, being brief, certified nursing assistant, phlebotomy, heavy equipment operator, power line construction, fiber optic specialist. These are non-degreed that we would open up for a grant program, Mr. Chairman, so that these individuals could have a job that pays exceptionally well in this environment.
Members, you've heard the sponsor explain his bill as amended. Do we have questions of the sponsor? Seeing none, we are voting on sending House Bill 1681 to Finance, Ways and Means. All in favor indicate by saying aye. Aye. All opposed by nay. Ayes have it. Bill moves out to Finance, Ways and Means.
Thank you, Chairman and committee, and happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you. House Bill number 2660 has been rolled. We're now on item number, the remainder of the calendar of my bills. Starting with item number 4, I'll turn the gavel over to Vice Chair Reedy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Next on the calendar is House Bill 1781 pertaining to Bureau of TennCare. With that, let's go ahead and get a motion in a second. We've got a motion and a second on House Bill 1781. Chairman Reagan, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before I get into that, though, I would ask that we go into recess to hear a presentation.
So at this time, we will move into recess and hear from the Bureau of TennCare. Please check your microphone and introduce yourself for the record, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. It's great to be with you all. My name is Stephen Smith. I serve as the TennCare Director, and we appreciate the opportunity to be with you all this afternoon. When you think about the audit period here, we're talking about July of 2019 through May of 21. It certainly would be an understatement to say that our state and our country experienced a time of uncertainty and many challenges, and TennCare was no exception to that. But I think it's a testament to the work of the men and women who make up our agency that we had no audit findings, and we're very proud of that. I do want to be sure to thank the Comptroller's Office for its work, and specifically the Division of State Audit. They are always professional, they are courteous, and we really appreciate the manner in which they conducted their work. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I am more than happy to answer any questions or concerns that you or the committee have.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any questions from committee members? Seeing none. Oh, Chairman Reagan, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As a reminder to the committee members, the audit he spoke of is on the dashboard program. But I want to congratulate the department on a clean audit, as you pointed out. Very trying times, and achieving that mark is something that deserves congratulations. So congratulations to TennCare.
Thank you.
Thank you.
With that, Mr. Chair, I move passage of House Bill 17. I'm sorry, we're still in recess.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll pass the gavel back here in a little bit, but at this time, we will go back into session. Any further discussion on House Bill 1781? Seeing none. Are we ready to vote? All those in favor of sending House Bill 1781 to calendar rules signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any oppositions? Nay. The bill moves on to calendar and rules. Next on our calendar is House Bill 1786, the Department of Agriculture. At this time, can I get a motion and a second? We've got a motion and a second on the bill. Chairman Reagan, you're recognized on House Bill 1786.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. This bill extends the This bill extends the Department of Agriculture to 2026 and requires that they report back to the Joint Evaluation Committee no later than December of this year to update the committee on their findings. Members, there were 3 findings in this audit, 2 of which were repeat findings. So I move that we go into recess to hear from the department.
Without objections, into recess. Commissioner Hatcher?
Yes,
Welcome, sir.
good afternoon. How am I coming through? Okay.
You sound great.
I appreciate this opportunity for the department to come before this group. We value this opportunity, and it's given us a chance. We take the sunset hearing seriously, and also the audit findings, and it's given us a chance to take a comprehensive review at mainly our regulatory wing of the department, which is our consumer industry services. And we regulate a lot of things from scales to feeds and food and seeds and fertilizer and lots of products. And it allowed us to take a look at that. We had 2 findings for frequency of inspections of food and pesticide that were not within our established SOPs and policy. And we also had a finding for the subrecipient funding monitoring. And if you would allow me, I'd like to go through our corrective action plans and the dates real quickly, if
Yes,
that'd be
sir.
okay.
Please do so.
For food and pesticide plans, both research and evaluate minimum requirements for inspections, look to higher education partners and standards in other states. Pesticides, excuse me, must follow EPA guidelines to continue funding. We completed that by January 1st of this year. Redefine scope of inspections as appropriate based on research and evaluation completed in previous step. We're expecting that by April 1st of this year. Develop/plan supplementary resources and processes to streamline inspections where possible. Expected May 1st. Design and document new inspection protocol for firms and food and pesticides programs. Expected June 1st. Develop and implement plan for identifying quarterly any approaching inspection guideline or deadlines and assigning those firms for inspection and verifying inspections once completed. Expected June 1st. Train all inspectors to ensure they understand the requirements and steps to complete required inspections July 1st. Assess need for amendment and or amend standard operating procedure for inspection workflow and consider contingencies for any inspections will not be completed on time. Expected June 1st. For subrecipient monitoring plan, confirm standards with CPO. That was completed November 1st of 2021. Draft plans for state subrecipients that are not currently monitored by TDA. That's in process. And standard operating procedure for subrecipient monitoring expected September 1st. Additional corrective actions by TDA included sunset audit response as a strategic initiative in our 4-year 2022 strategic plan. We included 2 additional food and dairy inspectors positions in our proposed budget and 1 internal auditor position in our proposed 2022-23 budget so that we can have continuity of operations through administrations. So that's a summary of our corrective action plan, and I'll take any questions.
Thank you, Commissioner. I guess I've got a question. So a lot of these, what you, the department, thought as your standard operating procedure, it seemed in our last discussion that you kind of overextended yourself. And did you find out that some of the inspections were not necessary? In other words, there were too many going on?
Well, Danny Sutton checked with other states and also with UT and FDA. Inspections are commonly done at 6, 12-month and 18-month
Right.
intervals. Some states were doing 12, 18, and 2-year intervals. So it looked like we were doing more than what some other states were doing and more than what FDA expected in some cases.
Very, very good. And I think that's kind of was the rock and hard spot that the department was in coming from this audit.
But it gave us a good chance to look at that and make sure we didn't get ourselves in a box again. And we also consulted with UT to make sure we were in line with any food safety issues. And we're well on our way to get that done.
Very, very good, sir. Any questions, comments for the commissioner? Chairman Lafferty?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just real quick, the folks that inspect pesticide, retail distributors and manufacturers, are they the same people or are you only able to do one or the other?
No, I mean, are they the same staff?
Can I do all 3? If I work for you, can I inspect?
No, we have different inspectors. That's a different department within the division.
Different
Yes.
specialties. Okay, just curious. Thanks.
We have food and dairy, and then we have pesticide that's separate.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any further discussion, questions? Commissioner Hatcher, thank you for being with us here today.
Thank you.
Just wait a minute, I want to make a comment again.
On this, we'll go back into session.
after we're in session.
Okay, at this time, we'll go back into session. Chairman Reagan, you're recognized.
Thank you. And just a reminder to the members, the audit report is also on the dashboard program that you have access to. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any questions, comments for Chairman Reagan on the bill? Seeing none, are we ready to vote? All those in favor of moving House Bill 1786 to calendar rules, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Nay. Bill moves on to calendar rules. Next on the calendar is item number 6, House Bill 1798, Local Government Planning Advisory Committee. Can I get a motion we've got a motion and a second on the bill. Chairman Reagan, you're recognized on the bill, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. I have an amendment on this, drafting code 013425.
Thank you, Chairman Reagan. Motion on the amendment. We've got a motion and a second. Chairman Reagan, you're recognized on the bill as amended. Oh,
The amendment's simple. It extends the Local Government Operations and Planning Committee to 2025. With that, I move adoption of the amendment.
okay. Any questions on the amendment? Seeing none. All in favor of moving the amendment 013425 to House Bill 1798, state by saying aye. Aye. Opposition, nay. Amendment goes on. Chairman Reagan, you're recognized on the bill as amended.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Members of the committee, those of you that sit on the Joint Government Operations Committee and saw this come before us, know that there was a discrepancy between the Senate actions and the House actions. The amendment that we just adopted aligns the House with the Senate. With that explanation, Mr. Vice Chair, I move adoption of the bill as amended.
Thank you, sir. Any questions for the chairman on the bill as amended? Seeing none. All in favor of moving House Bill 1798 as amended to calendar rules, state by saying aye.
Aye.
Is opposition, nay. Bill moves on to calendar rules. At this time, Chairman Reagan, the meeting is yours, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Members, as a reminder, item number 7 was taken off notice, at least temporarily. Again, as a reminder, this particular meeting was not mentioned prior to the meeting, but bills that are referred to us by statute, even though they're referred and they have rulemaking associated with them when they're made, the referral is made, amendments can take that rulemaking a portion off, but the bill still must come before us, unlike finance. So some of the bills that we moved on today may have fit that category. With that, is there any other business to come before the committee? You recognize Vice Chair Reedy.
Mr. Chairman, in recognizing President's Day on Monday, what is our schedule next week for government operations?
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. I'm glad you mentioned that. Monday is a holiday, so this committee will not be meeting. We will be putting out word via email as well as other means to advise you of how we're going to play catch up before the 28th. There's going to be a lot of business to come before, so I would encourage you to do your homework and be prepared. Any other questions? Seeing none, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Non-debatable. Committee adjourned.